Do great leaders have a series of principles that they follow religiously? You bet they do. Hello again, everyone. I'm Eli Stab with Project Eli, where we educate, we lead, and we inspire. And we are on our third chapter based upon an article. Huge shout out to a lady named Grace Dean who wrote this article. There are 14 leadership principles that Jeff Bezos established at Amazon, and they still drive the company today. We've gone over 10 of them so far. Let's go over 5 more. The 5th one is one that I'm adding, by the way. All right, the first one we want to talk about today is that leaders earn trust. Leaders listen attentively, speak candidly, and treat others respectfully. They're vocally self-critical, even when doing that is somewhat awkward and embarrassing. Leaders are transparent. All right, if they made a mistake, you know what they say? Hey, I made a mistake. Or we tried this and it didn't work. Why? Because one of the key essentials to being a good leader is having the trust of your constituents. Now that's true whether you're talking on the political spectrum, whether you're talking on the parental spectrum, or whether you're talking in the business spectrum. All right? You have to have the trust of the people that you're leading. And trust is something that you earn every single day. There's good news and bad news here. The good news is you do what you say you're going to do. You explain the why and because. You show where your team is going to benefit, where your customers are going to benefit, where you're going to be adding value, and you make an effort. Whether you succeed or you fail, you try, you make the effort. You've earned their trust. People are right there with you. That's the good part. The bad part is that if you tell one fib, one lie, you've blown the whole thing. People will remember the lie. They'll remember that I couldn't trust that person. So as a leader, it is critical that you always maintain your position by earning the trust that you're going to need to be that leader. As a parent, is there anything more critical that your child trusts you? You know, you see little kids, you know, I'll see a parent with a little kid and I go, hi, how you doing? And what does the little kid do? Little kid runs over and grabs the leg of the parent. Why? They don't know me, but they trust their parents. The parents have earned that trust. Same thing is true in the big boy world. Okay? You got to earn trust to be an effective leader. Next principle, leaders dive deep. They operate at all levels and they stay connected to the details. They continuously expect to inspect and inspect to expect. All right, I've gone over that before. What exactly does that mean? It means that when you are giving out assignments, when you're giving out the vision, when you're saying this is what we want to accomplish, you're very clear with your subordinates, this is what we expect. And then you have your subordinates repeat it back to you, so you make sure that there's no error in the communication. This is a critical step in leadership. You must be very clear on what it is you expect, because if what you're expecting is not the same as the assignment you're giving to the person that's actually going to carry out the function, you look at the results at the end and you say, what the heck did you do? What's going on? You say, well, you said you wanted this, this, and this. No, that's not what I meant. What I meant was this. So it's critical that right at the beginning, step 1 is that you get them to regurgitate to you what the end results are that you're expecting. So expect to inspect, inspect to expect. You must continuously inspect results along the way. And when you're doing that, you say, okay, how are we doing? Where are we? Or you're looking at the results and you're saying, okay, these are the results we have. Why are we getting those results? Or, hey, super job. You're exceeding the results that we expect. Keep going. The point is, you must continually inspect, or when you get to the end, you're going to be surprised. And everybody loves surprises, except when they don't turn out to be what it was you were expecting to get. Does that make sense? So expect to inspect, and inspect to expect. Dive deep and be clear. Third thing we want to talk about is have backbone, disagree, and commit. You know, leaders are obligated to respectfully challenge decisions when they disagree with the principal. You know, and being a leader doesn't necessarily mean being the president, okay? You can be a leader within a company, but you have to do so respectfully. You know, with all due respect, and you say that, and then you go into what you believe is wrong with the idea or how it can be done better, and you don't compromise. You know, you're going to speak your mind. You say it with all due respect, but you must remember at the end, once a decision is made, whether it agrees with your particular outlook or it completely disagrees with your outlook, as part of the team, you must commit to the decision that was made. I'm talking about when you're a leader and you're having your leader group, you know, your leadership core, and you're getting together for a brainstorming session, or you're instituting new policy, things like that, or a new avenue that you're going to pursue. And people are going to have different opinions. That's what you want. You want to get different opinions from your leaders. You want, you know, not everyone to be a yes man or a yes woman, you know, and say, oh, I agree with that, I agree with that. Okay. You don't need people like that. You know, when they say they agree, you want them to be sincere. But when they disagree, you want to hear their why and because, and say, okay, I don't feel that way, but you sell me on why you want to assume that position. And allow yourself to be sold if the sales job is accurate and good. Leaders don't just want people around them that agree with everything that they say. You don't get the best companies don't work that way. The way that you work is you get different opinions, and you get it from everybody. You know, it could be the mail person, the person that's delivering the mail that comes up with an idea. Everybody can have ideas. You want to encourage ideas. And once you have a good idea, then you want to run with it. But once again, if you're somebody that has a different opinion than the leadership in charge, you can't be afraid to say it. You have to be polite about it. Once again, it's a sales job. You know, you have to be polite. You know, with all due respect, I disagree with what you're saying. Would you like to hear why? And if the person is worth their salt, they'll say, yeah, go ahead, tell me why. And then give you why and because, and be committed to it. But remember, once again, as part of a team, and you're part of a team, that once a decision is made, you have to embrace that decision completely. That is how a team works. Next one we want to talk about is that leaders deliver results. Leaders focus on the key inputs for their business, and they deliver them with the right quality and in a timely fashion. Leaders have objectives that they want to achieve, and what they do is they chunk down the different elements that are going to allow them to go from point A to point B to point C. And it's just like goal setting. Once again, individual traits that make a person successful also work on the business side of the balance sheet. One of the things you want to do as an individual to be successful is have goals. You have your goals, you chunk them down into their smallest components, and you check off the boxes one by one. Leadership is no different. You focus on, you know, this is the big picture, this is what I want to achieve. What steps do I need? What accomplishments do I need to have in order to put myself in position to be there to reach that outcome? And when you figure that out, then you say, all right, what small baby steps do I have to pursue on a daily basis in order to get to point A, and then to point B, and then to point C? Now, sometimes, as in individual success, you're going to run into a roadblock or a detour, and you're going to have to make a change. So what? That's the way success is. And that's the way success is on the individual side and on the team side. So keep those principles in mind. But remember that the true leaders deliver results. How do they do it? The same way the individual does. Setting goals, chunking them down, achieving them step by step, meandering if necessary because you ran into a roadblock, getting a new starting line. Once again, success is going from starting line to starting line. It's not one big long sprint or one race. It's starting line to starting line until you reach the finish line. And the fifth one that I want to talk about with you today is not from this article, this tremendously good article. It is from my mentor, Bob Anderson. And he always said the first rule of leadership is this: leaders lead. Leaders lead. They're always in a position where they're looking around, they're seeing, and they're leading people. You can't just be sitting in the background, hoping for things to happen. Leaders lead, they take an active role, and they encourage the people on their team. Once again, as a parent, you're always leading your children, and you're always encouraging them, or you're giving them negative feedback. Sometimes the negative feedback is verbal. Sometimes the negative feedback is touching them on the backside, okay? A spanking. But leaders lead, and leaders lead by example. Don't ask your people to do something that you yourself have not done before or are not willing to do again. Leaders lead by example, and when they do, the people on the team say, well, if he or she is doing it, then I'm going to do it. And if they see the leader as somebody that they want to follow, and they say, wow, this person has such a great attitude, they're so positive, they're so driven, then they themselves will start to accumulate that very same tendency, that very same trait. And isn't that exactly what you want? So if you want people to be positive, to be aggressive, to be productive, then you yourself need to be those things, as well as make sure that they're doing it. Okay, make sure, leaders lead, and they lead by example. So once again, we've given you 15 different steps, principles, the 14 leadership principles that Jeff Bezos established at Amazon, and one from Bob Anderson. And once again, a huge shout out to a lady named Grace Dean who wrote this article, and I just thought it was a tremendous article. So once again, there are a series of commandments that leaders must follow. And because we're never going to end a meeting on a philosophical note, why don't we all get out there and charge? I'm Eli's dad.